Hello everyone, welcome back to Cloud Institution again. So Cloud Institution is the best software training institution. So today in this video, as part of this Terraform series, we're going to see another very interesting and very important, the concepts on Terraform. That is Terraform state file. Okay, on S3 bucket backend. So it's called S3 backend. Okay, so what do you mean by Terraform state file S3 backend? Okay, so as you can see here, so I'm going to show you some kind of a demo, like so what is state file and so why do we need state file and all these things I can go and explain. So what is Terraform state file in the S3 backend? So S3 backend stores the state file in an S3 object, okay, at the path set by the key parameter in the S3 bucket indicated by the bucket parameters. So it is used to securely store the state file in the cloud. Okay, so what do you mean by storing this, the state file in the cloud? Which means that, so whenever you're creating a Terraform infrastructure, the state file, the state information will be stored in, in a file, that is file called state file. Okay, if you wanted to secure the state file, if you wanted to secure the state file in the cloud, and that can be used to to store all your blueprint information of your infrastructure. Okay, so in this case you will be using S3 bucket as a backend. So we're going to see all these things in a so in a real time now, right? So now what we can do is that, so what are we going to do is, we are going to a terminal. Okay, so I have two providers. One is Azure RM and another is AWS, and I have one IAM user. Okay, so as you can see here, I don't see any straight file over here, right? So I see only the normal files. Let me just delete some of these files. Okay, let it be there. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to, I'm going to do Terraform plan and see what is going to be giving it to me. So I'm going to do Terraform um, plan. Okay, so now I need to do Terraform init probably. So I'm going to Terraform init. Okay, so Terraform init is was something which is going to be initializing. Okay, so Terraform dot folder is created. All right, so it is initializing AWS and Azure both providers. All right, so after this completes, right? So after this completes, what are we going to do is that, we are going to be, so we are going to be doing, so we are going to be Terraform plan, and then we are going to create this IAM resource. Okay, let's go back and check our console that if the IAM user is created or not. Okay, so IAM user is currently is not created. All right, so now, okay, now Terraform init is successful. Okay, now if we do Terraform plan. Okay, I just Terraform apply directly. Okay, Terraform apply hyphen auto approve. Okay, as you can see here, I'm going to do Terraform apply directly. So here there is no resources created. Okay, then I'm going to show you that, so what is the purpose of Terraform state file that will be created in the remote. So as you can see here, the Terraform state file is got created. Okay, so that now the Terraform state file is empty. Now as when, so this Terraform state is got created and it's going to be showing the output, right? So all this information is being stored in the state file. Okay, this is called Terraform local state file, right? The local state. So now what are we going to do is that we are going to use the remote state as a remote. So I don't want this state file to be over here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do Terraform destroy. Okay, I'm going to do Terraform destroy hyphen auto approve. Okay, meanwhile before that I'm going to see whether the user is created or not in the console. It's taking a while. Yeah, I think the user is being created. Okay, user is created, but it's taking some time to show it. Okay, now what we can do is we're going to create, I'm going to do Terraform destroy, and meanwhile is just getting destroyed. I'm going to delete all the state file and everything, and I'm going to show you how this is going to be used in the state files. That's a bucket S3 bucket. Now let's go back to the console. I'm going to S3 bucket. Okay, so now I'm going to create a bucket. Okay, so the bucket name has to be unique. Okay, so now we're going to cloud institution S3 backend bucket. Okay, so S3 backend bucket is what something which I'm creating, and I'm going to create block public access, that doesn't matter, and I'm going to create a create bucket. Okay, so now I have created this bucket. Okay, so the bucket is called, so this inside this bucket there's no files has been uploaded, right? So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy this bucket. So before that, what are we going to do is that we're going to see the backend type. Okay, so if you want to see the backend type, you go to S3 backend type. So this x3 backend equal to S3 in the Google. If you can type it will go to this directory. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy this particular file, copy this particular configuration, and I'm going back to my Terraform providers file configuration. Then I'm going to paste it over here. All right. So backend is equal to S3. The bucket is equal to bucket, and then path, and then which region is got created. All right. So we need to specify all these things. Right. Now the bucket name is, okay. So what is the bucket name? Okay. Let's go back. Okay. The bucket name is this one. All right. So now what is the path? So in which, what key means is nothing but in which name you want the state files to be created. Okay. Now I'm going to create, okay, state, tf state. Okay. That's enough. Now what is the region is got created? EU North 1 is the region is got created. So I'm going to copy this one and I'm going to paste it here. Alright, okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to delete the state file. I don't want any state file over to be available over here. Okay, so now I wanted to have my state file in the remote location. Okay, so I want my state files to be stored in the remote location. Alright, so which is the S3 bucket location. Okay, so now as you can see here, there is nothing, no object has been uploaded. Now we are going to do Terraform plan now. So now let's see Terraform plan, Terraform init we have to do because we need to have a Terraform init to initialize this configuration, right? So now Terraform init. All right. Okay. So it is getting initializing. Okay. So and also it's going to be getting initialized with the backend as well, right? So backend is going to be S3. It's also be getting initialized. So now what are we going to do is that we are going to in the configuration, if you can see, so it's a backend. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a same IAM user. Okay. So this IAM user is going to be user one. Okay. I'm going to check whether the user one is created or not, if the user is already existed or not. Okay. So there is no username called Terraform user is existed. Okay. Now I'm going to do Terraform. Okay. Terraform init is successful. Okay, now as you can see here, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to Terraform plan now to see whether what is going to be creating. So Terraform plan should be creating this IAM user. Okay, so the plan is going to be running now. As you can see here, so there is no state file is got created over here, but we want the state files to be created in the remote location now. Okay, so is one resource is going to be created now. I do Terraform apply. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do Terraform apply with the auto approve. Okay, so now once when this trigger is got created, okay, now let's go back. So it's got created, right? So now what happens is that here the tf state file is not created over here. Okay, now the way is the tf state file created, we go to s3 bucket. See, previously there was no state file is there. You can just click on this one. See, this tf state file is got created. Okay, this is what called Terraform state file as a backend. Okay, so S3 bucket as a backend, which is used to store the state file. Okay, so you can see here, this is the state file which has been available. So you can just download it and view this content of this one. Okay, so this is how we'll be storing the S3 bucket, S3 bucket backend for the state files. Okay, so now hope you understand this how to create a S3 bucket state file. So as you see here, S3 bucket backend store the state file in a S3 object at the path set by the key parameters in the S3 bucket indicated by the bucket parameter. All right, so it's used to securely store the state file. So what is the disadvantage of storing the state file in the local? Because if you lose that state file, then it will be problem for you. Okay, so entire state will be you won't be able to access it. So that's the reason why you will be creating the remote state file. Okay, so next video we are going to see some interesting topics on the Terraform state file. Okay, so for now, if you're interested, please be so please practice this one and see you again in the next video. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video, and so if you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Okay, I'm going to see you again soon in the next video. Okay, see you guys.